Hey, looks like I got tagged, y'all. Tag, I'm it. How's it going, everyone? This is James from J-ROYL, and I wanted to finally put up this tag video response. Now, I definitely made a little post in my community section on my YouTube channel asking my subscribers if they wanted me to participate in this tag. And a lot of them said yes, but
you actually need to be tagged in order to participate in a tag.
So I waited and I waited, and finally I have been tagged. So here's my response to 4 fragrances for life, 1 for each season. So thank you for tagging me, I do appreciate it. Now, one of the big reasons I was so excited to be part of this tag was because it kind of relates to my channel. For those of you who don't know, J-ROYL was originally an acronym that stood for, just gotta find it here, rest of your life. So what I try and talk about is make decisions that you can live with. I'm not so much into total impulse purchases anymore. I'm not into impulse diets and fads like that. I really truly believe that sustainability is important to think about. Things that you can just keep doing, stuff that's true to your inner self, rather than something that's temporary that can just pass you by. So with fragrance collecting, of course there's gonna be a lot of impulse purchasing, and you'll just try things once and then be really obsessed with it and then buy it and regret it. But I feel there are a lot of fragrances that can last you the rest of your life. Ones that really speak to you, resonate with you, all that good stuff. If you're new to the channel J-ROYL, this is a channel that talks a lot about fragrances and we have a lot of fun on it. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you do get notified when I put out new content. If you like me, if you like the video, like the button thing by pressing it. That's what the YouTubers say, right? So now, if you are a follower of the channel, if you have been following J-ROYL for a while, you may remember a little segment I used to do called the Royal Court. If you are a fragrance that's lucky enough to be part of the Royal Court, that means you are staying with me forever. There are certain fragrances that I have elected as Royal Court members with different ranking systems, whether you're a knight or a queen or a king. Essentially, they're fragrances that are very special to me that I can see myself having in my collection for the rest of my life. But enough chit chat, guys. This is a tag video. Perhaps we should get into the actual tag itself. So 4 fragrances, 1 for each season. Let's start off with spring. Currently, the fragrance that I could see myself having for the rest of my life, for the season of spring, it's none other than L'Homme Ultime. L'Homme Ultime has become a bit of a legend on this channel. It's a fragrance that I've really loved for a very long time, and I've promoted that to the hashtag Ultime. It recently topped my top 10 designer spring fragrances of this year, and it truly is a fragrance that is very special to me, and it's one that I talk about all the time. Phenomenal flanker to the original Yves Saint Laurent L'Homme, and it's just a beautiful eau de parfum concentration fragrance that you really have to check out. It may not work on everyone, but it definitely works on me, and in the springtime, it performs phenomenally. Like a few of these fragrances, I don't have the bottle with me on hand. I am currently away from my full collection. But that being said, I do need to give it to L'Homme Ultime, my choice for spring for life. Next up, we have summer. Summer fragrances tend to be lighter, more fun, easy to wear, and they should definitely work in the warm weather. That tends to mean that summer fragrances are usually dominated by citrus notes, or fresh mint accords, or aquatic themes. My fragrance is definitely fun, but not really citrus based. It's none other than Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. Fierce is a fragrance that I have talked about before. It is an absolutely basic fragrance that you'll smell in every major mall around the world, and that's because Abercrombie & Fitch stores usually pump this into the air, so it just pulls you into their stores. And even though it's really basic and overused and replicated by other companies, Fierce is still one that I will always wear in the summertime because of its performance and its likability. Sure, it's not unique. Sure, people will make fun of you. Sure. But I still love it. I love how it works in the heat. It really lasts the entire day. I would wear it to work on the job, back home when I would paint houses and all that, and it would linger for hours and hours and hours. And while I'm alone painting a room, I'll just get whiffs of it 6 hours into my day, which is right around the end where I'm starting to get a bit tired, and the smell just rejuvenates me. So for that reason, the amount of joy that it gives me, the nostalgia that it gives me, Fierce remains one of those fragrances that I just always go back to. And I feel I'll like it even more when I'm older. Even though it's a young person's fragrance, it'll have that nostalgia. It'll allow me to reflect on the nice memories of my youth when I'm no longer a youth. So I gotta give it to Fierce for the summer. I don't have the bottle with me, sorry to say, but it's at home waiting for me patiently in my wine cooler. Next season we have is fall/autumn. Although winter and summer have the strongest identity when it comes to fragrances, spring and autumn are nice because they're the transition seasons, right? It's warm to cold, cold to warm, which I feel allows me to be the most creative when it comes to fragrances that I wear. I'm not limited to one temperature or the other, it's a blend of both. I would absolutely say my autumn fragrance for life is also my favorite fragrance currently, Naxos by Xerjoff. Naxos is an amazing, sweet, honey tobacco fragrance with some cherry aspects to it. Beautiful, beautiful in the air, amazing performance. It's a fragrance that I've just been in love with ever since I smelt it on a little tester I got for free from someone from Facebook, and it truly blows me away every single time I smell it to this day. Oftentimes in the fragrance community, we do get wrapped up in the flavor of the week or month, where you smell something and you're just convinced it's the greatest fragrance ever mixed and blended, concocted, ever. Until you get bored of it a month later and sell it, or you just let it sit on your shelf and collect dust. Naxos is not one of these cases. It's been my favorite for a while now. Even though I do obsess about other fragrances that sort of creep their way into my collection, Naxos has remained a constant, and that's why I have to give it the fall spot. Now, as a bit of a disclaimer for those of you who don't know, Naxos does have some alternatives that are cheaper. Most notably, Pure Havane by Mugler has a very similar composition, not quite as much depth to it, but still has an excellent smell and very, very good performance too. A lot of the alternatives that I come across just are weaker, but Pure Havane isn't weak by any means. It does perform very well, and it's obviously a lot more available and affordable. Now, Pure Havane, which technically also is Naxos, has a Rayon Tradition alternative called Insurrection Wild. It has that kind of ombre type of bottle. Another alternative that's even cheaper than Pure Havane. Performance is a little questionable, but for that price, I mean, you can't really go that wrong, right, dudes? So that being said, definitely my fall choice for this tag, Naxos by Xerjoff. And for my fourth fragrance for the winter time has got to go to Dior Homme Parfum. I don't have it with me because there's no way I would bring this fragrance onto a cruise ship in Australia. I would choke everyone out. It is my strongest designer fragrance. Dior Homme Parfum isn't just a parfum version of the original Dior Homme. Yes, it has a bit of the iris, yes, it has leather, but it really amps up the leather like crazy. It's dark leather, it's assertive, it's masculine, but it still has that Dior soft touch. Kind of like Chanel Antaeus, it's a little bit softer on the edges and how it's composed, but its edges are big and strong, and so is the performance on this thing. I still have arm's length projection 6 hours after application. Really is a phenomenal performing fragrance, but it's one that I would only really recommend outside, or if you are inside, make sure you've applied it like 4 hours before. Otherwise you will insult some people around you, and I have quite a few times. It's a fragrance that's really near and dear to my heart, and it's one that I can only see myself wearing more and more as I get older. It is a bit harder to find, so it is one of the few fragrances that I may consider getting a backup bottle of, because if it's gone for good, I'll be pretty sad about that. So my winter choice for this tag, Dior Homme Parfum. There have honestly been so many fragrances that I wanted to feature on this list, but I really tried to focus on 4 that I could see myself wearing for the rest of my life. Who knows the kind of person I'll be when I'm 50, 60, 70 years old, but for the length of my fragrance collection, these ones have been pretty consistently well-liked in my collection. Now, what are some of your favorite fragrances for each season? If you can let me know in the comments, that'd be really, really cool. And if you want to see someone else tagged in this challenge, let me know in the comments below, and I'll pin the person that I will eventually tag. So anyways, guys, this video has just been my opinion, so don't get too amped up or crazy or bored with some of my repetitive choices, but you know what? Just my opinion. Get your own. If you want to see some more videos, if you're not done with J-ROYL yet, I have some videos posted and a subscribe button if you haven't done that. Kind of recommend it, so see you later.